Hi, I'm Roman McAllen, the Historic Preservation Officer for the City of Houston. And today I'm out with staff members from the Office of Preservation conducting a window workshop in Glenbrook Valley Historic District. Mid-century modern windows, often made of aluminum like the ones you see behind me, need maintenance over the years. These houses in this neighborhood are 50, 60, and 70 years old. If you care for these windows, they'll last another 50, 60, 70 years. But they do need some routine maintenance occasionally. And today, we're conducting a workshop to show you just how to do that.
Good morning, Bill Robinson here with the Houston Office of Historic Preservation. We are going to show you a workshop for restoring historic aluminum windows. The purpose of all this is so that if you want to make your windows work better, we can show you some ways to make them work better without having to have the windows replaced. One of the things I want to cover first of all, though, is the fact that any home built before 1978 is deemed by the EPA to have lead-based paint in it. You want to be very careful about that. If you hire a contractor to do that work, they need to be a certified renovator with the EPA, and the firm needs to be a certified firm. Those things are critical because children under 6 and pregnant women can be severely damaged by inhaling lead dust. So we want to make sure that we've covered that. All right, with that out of the way, if you are in a place where you or a contractor is working around this and potentially creating lead dust, you want to wear a mask. Preferred mask would be from EPA's P100 mask. This is one that has what I call an oral nasal and changeable filters in it. This one's a pretty effective mask. It's approved. It's high efficiency mask. You can buy these disposable masks. That's also a P100, and they're about $10 or $12 a piece. But you really need to make sure you're wearing one of these masks to not breathe that lead-based dust. So I'm going to show you what the cleaning products are that we want to use. That's most of our cleaning products. And so let's move on to some of our other restoration products. So I want to introduce you to the tools and materials that we're going to use with this process, and then I'm going to show you the things that we're going to do, and then I'm going to show you how we do it all. I'm ready to start talking about what we're actually going to do. Let's start getting ready to do some work. And so this is a window. This is an aluminum window here that we're going to show how we can clean it up and make it work a lot better. Now you notice I have my gloves on, right? So we have a bottom sash and a top sash. This stuff, if you can see it here, is cracked and it's coming apart, so it's not doing its job anymore. So what that can mean is air and water can leak into the building. And I think oftentimes in a system like this, where everything looks like in pretty good shape, that's going to be our biggest problem, is air and water leakage into the house. So we come in with our oscillating tool that I showed you earlier on that yellow DeWalt vibrating tool and clean all these caulk beads out of here, clean it up with acetone or simple green, and then come back and apply a bead of caulk. It's really important that we also take a look around to the inside and see if there's any damage with window leakage, because if there is window leakage, water coming in the walls inside the house, we might want to take a different approach. What I'm going to look for is signs of water and air leakage, and typically we see that around the bottoms, in the corners here, and over there, and I can see little bits of stains here which tell me that there's probably an air leak. So the hot air is coming inside and condensing and turning into water, full-on water, and causing that microbial growth. The other place I want to look is right down here at the bottom of this sill. I can see at one time that there was probably a leak here, but it looks to me like it's not fresh, and so I'm not going to worry about that part right now, but this just reinforces the fact that we don't need to do much additional work on the inside in order to make this restoration work. All right, we're ready to start doing some real work right now. So the first thing I want to look at is keeping things clean. My associate, Jason, is going to be doing most of the work. I'm going to be help guiding through the work that we're going to do so we can show and tell how we're going to do this. What we're going to do first of all is vacuum this up. We're going to get the oscillating tool and start cutting out all that caulk around the perimeter of the window. That's not coming out as easily as I would like it to, but that's not a surprise. Different kinds of caulk have different kinds of difficulty in bringing them out.
Okay, I did like the oscillating tool. I'll kind of loosen it up and then I can use that.
Okay, so what Jason's saying here is he's using the oscillating tool to kind of break that caulk loose, and then he's using the painter's tool to help pull it out. And a lot of these processes take you fiddling a little bit to make them work. In worst case scenario, if we can't get all the caulk out of that, is we'll come in there and clean it up as well as we can and put another bead over the top of that. If you remember the window that we looked at on the inside that had those stains around the bottom, I'm pretty sure those stains came from the fact that water or air was leaking around the perimeter of the window. So the main thing that we can do in this instance is to go ahead and reestablish that seal around the window. It'll make it warmer, it'll make it drier, and make things last longer. All right, the next step in this process is we're going to replace some of the glazing putty. So Jason's going to come in here and remove all this old failed glazing putty. We're going to show you how to mix up the Sarco with the zinc oxide, and we're going to put one glazing bead in. All right, now we're going to mix up the glazing putty. And the glazing putty works best if it has some zinc oxide in it, which will limit or restrict the microbial growth, which is what you end up seeing with all those black stains all over your windows. And so here's a bucket here that I have, and you can see that it has some oil in it, and you can see that it has some of the solid material. So what I want to do, I'm going to go ahead and use some of this zinc oxide. The zinc oxide is just a powder that will help to restrict the microbial growth. So I'm going to sprinkle just a little bit in there. Okay, so I'm just going to mix this up until it kind of disappears. I'm just going to work this up. I use this whiting product, which is like the same kind of thing that a gymnast might use so they can grasp the bars, or weightlifters use them. And this will help to keep the putty from sticking to my hands, plus also it's really good for cleaning up glass later on. Okay, now that I've got everything ready to go, I have whiting on my hands, I've got zinc oxides in the glazing putty, I've got my flexible putty knife. Now I'm going to go ahead and glaze the window. So I'm going to get up over here and start putting that glazing putty in, and there's a lot of different ways to put it in. I'm just going to use my putty knife here. Okay, I've got that in here now. What I'm going to do then is just come back and peel off a little bit of overage, and then I'm going to leave it. I'm going to let it cure for 2 or 3 weeks until it skins over. We'll put some good oil-based primer on the top of that, and then a good oil-based paint on top of that. Okay, so there you have it. The final thing that we're going to do before we're finished is to seal where the window frame meets up against the brick to keep air and water from infiltrating into the house and causing subsequent damage. We're going to use backer rod and high solids content caulk to do that with. But basically what I'm doing here now is resealing that joint. So now we've sealed the edge of the window up against the brick. Water and air won't get in there. Sometimes aluminum windows have something called a glazing bead, which in this case is just a piece of plastic that snaps in the window frame that holds the glass in place. And so in this case, the glazing beads are in good condition, but I wanted to show you how they are removed in case you need to take them out. So up here, this is the glazing bead, this little gray piece that you see. And you can see here by slipping in a little pry bar, I can just pry that glazing bead out. Now, I'm not going to take it all the way out because we don't need it out, and I don't want to fuss with it. The thing about it is, if you take old glazing bead out and try to put it back in again, it's not going to work very well, so you need to replace that with new. So in this case, I'm just going to push this back in, and I'm going to put a little sealant behind it, and then that way it'll stay in place. So this is what we're going to do here. Now, on this one, you can see the caulking around the perimeter is really in pretty bad shape. And even though there's a pretty good overhang here, I believe that right here in the corner, there's a little hole where water and air can come through into the wall, which is a problem that needs to be dealt with. We'll fix that up by taking out the caulk and filling that gap in with some good solid caulk. So that's really all it is as a homeowner, you can come in and do all this stuff yourself. All the materials are available either online or locally. No special tools that are needed, everything you can get. It's reasonably safe. You can take your time, learn how to do it, and really feel good about making your windows last another 50 to 70 years.
Hi there, my name is Jason Lowenthal. I'm a planner with the City of Houston Planning Department, Office of Preservation. Right now I'm with the homeowners here at a window workshop. With me is Patrice and Percy, and you had submitted a COA application to replace your windows here in your home here in the Glenbrook Valley district.
Back in March, I was looking to replace my windows, and you came out and you took a look at the windows, and you did say it was in good condition and asked if we would be interested in restoration, and I told you we are looking into that. So that's how we got this far in the restoration of the windows. But our main purpose for changing the windows was simply because of efficiency, trying to save electricity. There was a lot of air going out, and we just needed to get everything in order into making sure that the air was staying in the home.
That is correct. We had gone from originally replacement of the windows to a restoration, and the discussion finally came around to a window workshop on how you can perform ordinary maintenance and repair on the aluminum windows here and address those concerns you talked about.
As far as the window workshop, this is very, very informative. I'm glad we did this. Instead of replacing, you can do restoration on the windows and still make your windows look good.
And so Patrice, could you talk a little bit more about how this window workshop is giving you the knowledge and the tools of doing ordinary maintenance and repair and saving you money in the long run? If you talk a little bit more about that, please.
My husband and I both were looking into saving money, and being that when you contacted us about this this workshop and how it would help us, benefit us as far as saving money, we both talk about it. My husband and I talk about it, and we say this is the route we wanted to go to try to save money on the cost of the windows. So after we see how it worked out on the windows they're doing now, we look forward to seeing about getting the rest of the windows redone.
Right. Well, Patrice, Percy, we thank you very much for allowing your home and your windows to be featured in this window workshop. Again, you guys are the first to do this in Glenbrook Valley Historic District. We thank you very much. And for all homeowners in Glenbrook Valley, the City of Houston is providing this service to you to give you the knowledge and the tools to better serve you. Thank you very much.
We're excited to share with you how to work on these historic windows. It's just one part of caring for these homes, and we're happy to help you with it. If this video interests you and you want to know more, please contact the City of Houston Office of Preservation. You can find us online and on the city's website. Thank you.